it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh gosh, no.
Yeah.
No.
You've had some business less successes?
Yeah, I have. Look, I've been very open about this in the past. You might be able to find stuff of me sharing some. I did a talk on failure once, and I shared very openly about how failure has served me. And I believe failure is something that serves us if, to borrow the expression, we fall forward or we fail forward. So if we fall backwards, we're further behind than when we started.
Mm-hmm.
But if we fall forward, we're still further ahead. Right?
Can you share the story?
What I did? Yeah. What happened? Sure. I mean, which failure story are you looking for? All joking aside, I'll share it. Because here's the thing. I know I'm joking and I'm putting off telling the story, but we fail every day. And if we're not failing, we're not trying. So
that's a great point. All right.
Absolutely.
You'll never. I find even myself.
Yeah.
So many people fail to start because they're so afraid of failing.
Yeah. Just try.
But everyone who's successful has failed many times.
Yeah. My brother, who's my best friend and my biggest fan, and I'm his biggest fan, has always encouraged me to just go for it. You've got it. This is you've got, what's the worst can happen? And that question is amazing. What's the worst thing that can happen? It's never what you think. So I did experience what I thought would have been the worst thing that could happen. And this was post 2008. I had an agency. We'd grown it from bootstrap, zero funds put in, to at its highest point, it was a $4.5 million in revenue agency. We worked with some of the top pharma, packaged goods, retail, and tech businesses in Canada. Producing their national sales meetings, product launches, internal communication, newsletters, and all kinds of media that we would do for them. And then post 2008, pharma was a big part of our clientele, and there's something called the patent cliff, where in pharma, post 2008, all the big pharma companies dropped in revenue by some of them almost in half.
Oh boy.
And so our revenue dropped and dropped and dropped, and I started investing.
Sorry, so just a point of clarification. Patent drop as in they can no longer legally defend their products.
That's right, sell their products, or they could sell them but defend them, because now a patent, a generic brand of that brand will come out, and it's cheaper.
Yeah, because they didn't have to pay for the R&D and the marketing. They can
No. And there's a service that pharma plays, right? And I'm a big believer in that model.
Yeah, because they're paying for all the research.
They're bringing solutions to the table.
They're the one risking their necks.
Yeah, and their investors are too, right? And their investors are.
Yeah.
So we had grown, we'd shrunk. I had put money in for cash flow purposes to keep us afloat. I did not belong to EO. Did not know it existed. And by the way, everything that's happening comes next might have gone differently if I'd belonged to EO. I actually think it probably would have. I'd had partnership challenges for about a year. You know, when things are not going very well in a business, partnerships usually get rocky. And
money changes everything in relationships.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I had offered to buy her out. At the time, we couldn't come to any resolution. And then we hit a point about 8 to 10 months later when we were at the end of the road. And this was very daunting. The end of the road, there's really only a couple of things we could do. I would have to convince my wife that I would throw another $100,000 into this business to keep it afloat for a little bit of time. We would have to close the doors, send everybody home, or choose 3 people and try and figure out how to just work on one client. And what we decided to do, because we weren't working well together anymore, was we were going to lose our shirts, meaning all the money we'd put in. We would commit to completing every project that was on the books, and we would lay off our staff and close the doors.
Oh, damn.
So it was about a 2-month process, And then we had to, in order to do that, the business had to declare bankruptcy. And that was one of the worst days of my life. Now, I've had worse days. And I've had lots of level sets since. That day's nothing. Right? I mean, money and the business was important to me. I've got a whole bunch of other priorities now and ways that I can level set things. But just know at the time, it was terrible. And when I was done, I thought, with all due respect to professional baristas, I was going to end up as a barista at Starbucks. That was my mindset.
You were that low.
That low. So what did I do? I thought, okay, I need people to know how to reach me. So I created a new URL with my name in it. I sent out an email to all of my clients to say, hey, you know this already, because I'd called every single client to let them know what was happening. And by the way, most of those clients said, why didn't you tell me? We could have helped you.
Oops.
Why didn't you tell me?
Where were you 2 months ago?
Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about the problem. We kept it to ourselves. We were ashamed about how we've managed cash flow. We were ashamed about how we lost this business and lost that business. But we still had core clients. So I created this URL, kindlerandcompany.com, and I sent out an email to about, 100, 150 people, clients, saying, hey, you know, but if you need to reach me for any reason, here's my email. Here's my phone number. Within minutes, I got emails back saying, hey, can we talk? Within days, I got offers of work, and I started up a mini virtual coaching and agency. Within months, I had recovered financially because I had no overhead. And within the year, I'd more than recovered, and I was making a great income. But more importantly is I started to focus on my unique ability, 100%. And I created a product that I thought, or a service, I should say. I remember sitting with my good friend, Rob Drynan, who is a great EOS implementer, entrepreneurial operating system implementer here in Toronto.
Love EOS. I learned EOS through EO.
You can see the book behind you, the Gino Wickman book. Anyways, I remember sitting with him, coffee for a few times, like, what if I created a coaching subscription only for senior leaders to help them get clear on their messaging? He's like, well, yeah, I could try it. And he was very supportive about the model and ideas. And I sold one, and then I sold another, and then I created programs, and things really started to take off.